This is definitely the most hilarious family in South Korea. There are 4 of them, but everyone is in a state of unease. First, there's the tall, poor son who went to a public restroom but didn't have toilet paper, so he threw it away. As a result, he ran out into the street naked from the waist down, causing chaos as people thought there was a pervert. Next is the father, who owns a fried chicken shop but doesn't focus on doing it well, taking on side jobs from security guard to extra. One day, while filming a movie, he took on the role of a soldier. North Korea, and everyone misunderstands him as an enemy from the north. One day, the father and son unexpectedly meet at the police station. They look at each other with smiles that couldn't be more confident. The mother and her eldest son run to the police station, too embarrassed to acknowledge their family members. How much more absurd can this be? Let's watch this movie together on Skview. The male lead, named Jude, is over 30 years old but still unemployed and a burden on his parents. His mother is extremely worried because she has an eccentric husband and her fried chicken restaurant is always struggling. It's so humid, yet he doesn't try to improve things at all. Every day at 6 o'clock he packs his bags and goes home, causing some customers who intended to come into the shop to think it was closing early because they saw it was shut down. The eldest son, although an office worker, is afraid of his boss like he's afraid of a tiger. In the end, it was because of his son that his mother suffered the most. All day he just stares at his eyes drawing comics. He has also gone to meet some publishers, but they all criticized his work, saying, "Is this even a comic?" His job is already depressing, and his love life isn't much better either, since he was little. During school, the male protagonist was called ugly by the teacher during a tug-of-war with his group. Knowing he couldn't win, he ran to the other team to steal the ball, resulting in him being beaten up by his friends. Throughout his school years, he couldn't flirt with any girls. They thought he was strange and always avoided him. The male protagonist's life seemed miserable enough, but unexpectedly, he encountered a situation 100,000 times more awkward. One day, feeling extremely sad and overwhelmed, he ran at full speed. He rushed to the toilet to get some toilet paper for himself. There were only a few sheets left, but he managed to relieve his urge to defecate, and his jeans were already dirty. He quickly took out the paper to clean them. At this moment, someone in the next stall wanted some toilet paper. With his kind nature, the protagonist intended to give him the last sheet, but his jeans fell to the ground. The man in the next stall took the protagonist's jeans to wipe himself, leaving only his thin shorts. That kind act became a disaster for him again, even though he had a bowel movement and no toilet paper to wipe with. With his 180, the guy thought of using his pants to wipe it clean and threw it away. So now the male protagonist's lower body is no longer protected by pants. He looks at the iPad he has. At this moment, it is his shield. But even though he had a big bowel movement, he was not smart. Who would cover their face but leave the iPad screen as their wallpaper an image of a young man running around naked from the waist down? It was soon all over. News. A kind mother sits at home watching TV without realizing it's her mischievous son, even though he was quickly taken to the police station for questioning. The young police officer, short and thoughtful, tells the protagonist, "Even without pants, you should have taken off your shirt to cover yourself." He only realized it when he was stunned. You could have used a shirt instead of an iPad. Now you're probably the laughingstock of the whole city. A moment later, a man in a North Korean soldier's uniform is shouting. That man is none other than the protagonist's father. He went to film a movie and, always wearing his soldier's uniform, he returned on the bus and saw 2 soldiers arguing. As an older man, the father raised his voice in a dangerous tone to mediate, resulting in everyone thinking he was a North Korean soldier. Everyone united to arrest him and called the police. Seeing his father also arrested like himself, the first thing he needed to do was laugh. Suddenly realizing he was also in an embarrassing situation, he suppressed his smile. His mother and the eldest son, who was doing well in school, ran to the police station and saw these 2 people who had disgraced their ancestors. Both families were so embarrassed that they covered their faces and left. A few days later, a reporter came to interview the mother, but she only said, "I don't know anything." The eldest son innocently said that he'd seen his father under a blanket listening to the radio a couple of times, which seemed suspicious. The family's feelings are so cold. Even though he returned home, he buried himself in drawing cartoon characters. The characters he drew were all inspired by his own life, or even his relatives. His family criticized him, calling him useless and only dreaming unrealistic dreams. He decided to run away from home to give his family a scare. However, suddenly remembering that tomorrow was his mother's birthday, the male protagonist, being a filial son, returned home and carefully wrote a card announcing his departure. Then he hugged the birthday cake and hid in the closet, planning to jump out and celebrate when the family held a party, hoping his mother would be moved to tears. But when the male protagonist's mother picked up the card and read it, she and her husband looked at each other and sighed. It seemed this time their rebellious son really intended to run away from home. It seemed they had been too strict with him. The youngest son, Duzux, is hiding in the cupboard. He's very happy to see his parents care about him, especially when he hears that his parents will buy him a toy so he can draw cartoons. The male protagonist decides not to go out yet. He naively thinks that his mother will be sad and won't throw a party, but is completely wrong. The whole family is singing happy birthday, very happily. The chubby eldest son is excitedly giving his mother a gift with his new salary. Everyone is eating and laughing happily. No one cares where the male protagonist is right now, while Duzux is sitting in his stomach, starving. If only he were just hungry. He was still trying to endure it, but I don't know what's wrong with the male protagonist's digestion. Every time he has a stomach ache, he farts very loudly, even though he grits his teeth and tries to hold it in. However, he absolutely has to go to the toilet, otherwise he'll do something inappropriate in the cupboard. Luckily, at that time, his father was watching TV and laughing, so he didn't notice the youngest son sneaking out from in front of the cupboard. He hurriedly went to the bathroom to take care of his urgent business. After finishing, even though he was about to flush as usual, he was afraid of making noise and getting the whole family to find out. He even imitated his father's voice. He went to the toilet to distract his mother. The mother thought her husband had soiled his pants, so she quickly went into the room to check, even planning to strip off his pants to see what was really going on. Then the eldest son also needed to go to the toilet. The chubby guy went into the bathroom and saw a huge pile of shit. He sighed and tried to urinate, then flushed it all at once. But then he remembered his mother's advice to save water, so he didn't dare press the flush button, leaving the toilet bowl a disgusting mess. He quickly went to check on the food in the kitchen to ease his hunger after hiding in the cupboard for several hours. He thought he was about to be hungry, dead because he still wanted to show his importance. The male protagonist was still hiding in the closet. He even brought his personal belongings in so he could live conveniently, and he lived like that in the closet for several days. His parents weren't stupid. They realized he was hiding in the closet to teach their son a lesson. While the whole family was watching TV, the male protagonist's parents lied, saying he wasn't their biological son. Even though he was hiding in the closet, hearing this made his heart sink. He writhed and struggled in the closet, thinking he was just a son. To increase the drama, the father even said that the male protagonist was the son of the woman who sold fruit juice in the apartment complex. The next day, the male protagonist appeared at home, suddenly becoming unusually quiet and well-behaved. He even proactively offered to wash the dishes. The whole family was surprised by this attitude of the male protagonist. A little later, the doorbell rang. The vegetable vendor appeared, and although he was shocked that it was his mother, he immediately rushed to open the door. When he saw the woman who sold fruit juice, his emotions suddenly surged. His family sat behind him, smiling and observing. The male protagonist is struggling with the thought of having a biological mother but being unable to acknowledge her. One beautiful day, he is invited to a wedding, which is also an opportunity for him to reunite with his old high school friends. The male protagonist is extremely looking forward to this reunion because it's a chance for him to meet his first love again. His friends all have similar mushroom-style haircuts, though he doesn't remember his first love's face exactly. He chats and flirts with several girls at the wedding to see who his dream girl is, but none of them are the right one. Although feeling bored, he went outside and bumped into the person he had longed for so long. A pretty girl with short hair. She was the girl he had secretly loved throughout his high school years. The short-haired girl also recognized Nam Chin because of his long, goofy-looking face. Both were happy and started talking. After years of losing contact, they were reunited once again. Before they could plan to win over their former love, Nam Chin was caught up in a mission assigned by his father. The two of them couldn't keep anything to themselves except for showing off and getting into trouble. Because his father's fried chicken business was doing worse, he told Du to go spy on the chicken shop next door. The male protagonist respectfully accepted the order and stayed home to work out to get six-pack abs like in the movie. In addition, he showed enthusiastic loyalty to the rival shop. Soon he gained the trust of the boss, who was very satisfied with the new employee's work attitude. He even rewarded him with a large sum of money. He gradually infiltrated the kitchen and discovered the secret to making chicken at the rival shop. It seems they used imported chicken. China, having enough materials, even though he knew this, informed his father. The two father and son were discussing business in the shop when the mother caught them. She wanted to beat the two men up in front of her, drinking alcohol and acting like fools in broad daylight. Through his own efforts, Job gained the absolute trust of the owner of the competing chicken shop. He even knew the meeting place of the rival's business partner. He immediately texted his father to disrupt the rival's business. The father received his son's message, dressed up, and went to the meeting place with his camera. The two sides met at a secluded house just as the partner appeared with a chicken. Looking at the quality, the competitor tasted the chicken and claimed it was domestically produced. At that moment, a man with a face identical to the male protagonist's father appeared. He was wearing a blue shirt and had short, bowl-cut hair. He seemed to be from another region. His Korean accent was slightly unclear, and although he thought his father had appeared, he kept calling out, "Dad," and even asked, "Why are you dressed so shabbily?" The man in the blue shirt didn't understand. "What happened when I saw the young man in front of me calling me Dad? I came here to see if these people were illegally trading chickens. The device detected my true identity, so I was held back by the henchmen of the rival restaurant." After a while, another group of people stormed in. The man in the brown shirt is the head of the Poultry Association. He stormed in and declared that this was an illegal business. He would suspend the operations of both restaurants. Everyone heard this and became chaotic, blaming each other and fighting. Everything went wrong. It just stopped there. The male protagonist's mother, while going out, accidentally saw a man in a blue shirt with a face exactly like her husband's. She quickly grabbed him and questioned him, but he pushed her away, saying, "Who are you to touch me?" The mother, seeing her husband acting like a tiger today, argued fiercely, so she lunged at him, grabbing his hair, pulling and beating him, causing the man to run away. The male protagonist's spy plan was thus ruined, yielding no results or direction. But it's okay because he got a date with BNG. The two arranged to meet at a romantic cafe. The short-haired girl asked, "What are you doing for a living right now?" He chuckled and said, "I'm a comic artist." In his memory, the girl in front of him always secretly liked him and expressed her feelings. Because of this thought, in the male protagonist's imagination, the girl always looked at him with shy eyes. She was even willing to get herself wet for him, while the truth wasn't so beautiful in anyone's eyes. The male protagonist was no different from an imbecile, always acting like he was the most handsome man. In the sunny weather, he would unbutton his thick shirt to show off his physique. Although she felt very strange, she reluctantly treated him well because once, during a lottery, her secret friend Eben's book happened to be the male lead. The act of taking an umbrella to shield him from the rain was just a chance help, but in her eyes, it was an expression of love, making him mistakenly think that the short-haired girl was infatuated with him. Eben knew the male lead was delusional, so she told him directly. Unfortunately, because he was overly confident, he thought she was making excuses to avoid confessing her true feelings. He was indeed ugly and suffered from delusions. The young couple, after drinking water, finished and entered the elevator to go home. However, an incident occurred when the elevator broke down. The male protagonist and Eben couldn't get out. The young couple panicked, screaming and shouting. Everyone was terrified, and despite their excitement, they kept yelling at the camera in the elevator and banging on the door repeatedly, but there was no signal. The saddest thing was that his father, who worked as a security guard in the building, was only focused on eating noodles and didn't know his younger son was trapped in the broken elevator. Eben pulled out his phone to try and get a signal, but to no avail. The young couple remained trapped in a narrow space. Instead of comforting and giving strength, they turned to blaming each other. They even resorted to physical violence like two unruly teenagers. After fighting for a while, they hugged each other and cried, saying they didn't want to die. Eben cried so much that her eyes were watering. Kara, the male protagonist, had a swollen face from being punched by the short-haired girl. In a moment of emotion, he asked the girl in front of him if she had anything to say. He hoped she would speak honestly, even if it was hard to hear. Eben's face softened, and she whispered that when she was in school, she thought he was the type with a brain. It's not quite normal. In short, she only spoke ill of him once. Even though he could hear that much, he sighed dejectedly. He pressed the elevator button and this time it opened normally. It turned out the elevator wasn't broken, but he hadn't selected the floor. He left the building in a daze, thinking, I shouldn't have met her. All his illusions about her officially vanished because of his despondent, unsuccessful love. Although he still conveyed the story through his drawings, He drew her with short hair and a grotesque figure, causing the producer to frown and criticize the name. The guy wearing glasses said that Haren's diary might be funnier than this silly love story. The male lead sighed, hugged the manuscript, and went home. The chubby older brother got dressed up to go wooing girls. The most similar thing about these brothers is their confidence. Going up to 3, he met 2 of his subordinates at the company. The chubby brother declared that it only took him 2 minutes to woo the most beautiful girl. To prove this, the chubby brother rushed onto the dance floor, making heart gestures with his hands, and grabbed the hand of a girl who wasn't pretty at all, if not downright ugly. The 2 subordinates were stunned at this point. The nickname Fat Guy's girl probably only applies to ugly girls. The fat guy doesn't care about anything. He's having a blast on the dance floor with the motto, "If I'm not shy, then others will be." In the male protagonist's house, there's a new rule that everyone must speak English to each other. No one is allowed to use their mother tongue. It all started with the male protagonist's mother. One time, while watching TV, the father and elder son were talking about how the family didn't invest in proper education, so the mother didn't let the 2 of them learn English, causing the whole family to. The mother, feeling intellectually backward, was very angry when she heard her husband and son's negative feelings towards her. So she decided to have them learn English at home. She made a rule that everyone had to speak English in the house. Anyone who spoke Korean would be fined. The father and sons looked at each other, thinking, "This is too difficult. None of us know any foreign language." But necessity is the mother of invention. The father, who knew a few broken English words, tried to communicate with his 2 sons. It's true that men always understand each other. From then on, the father created a unique language between the 3 of them that the mother couldn't understand. Finally, she had to. He gave up and lost money to the cunning husband and father. After this incident, he was stimulated by the importance of learning and decided to enroll in a foreign language class. He even worked hard as a construction worker to earn money for tuition, and then stood in front of his wife showing off money as if he were a billionaire. All the strange and interesting things that happened in this house were recorded in a diary, and he drew cartoon characters who were his relatives. He recalled being insulted by the man with glasses. His story is a silly joke sent to the diary. The signature is even more impressive than the male protagonist's determination to go big by sending him the diary manuscript while he was diligently playing games in the living room. The guy wearing glasses read every part of the male protagonist's diary manuscript. He laughed heartily and called him, even though he said he should write a comedy story of this genre. It's been a long time since he's done this, and he has the potential to be published. Even though he was praised, he felt happy inside. His family had always criticized him and didn't believe in his cartoon drawing. Finally, after all his efforts, he was recognized, and his parents' YouTube son happily boasts about his son's achievement to his friends. This family is about to have a celebrity, so everyone is happy. Although he has gained more confidence to invite his loved one out for tea, the only problem is that his older brother is a third wheel. He complains that he doesn't have a girlfriend and feels very lonely. When he arrives at the meeting place, he sees his older brother there. Although he is not very polite, he greets him. He even chats happily and comfortably. The next day, the chubby guy gets a date. I don't know what he was thinking, but he just wore the same clothes that his father wore. The newly dressed chubby man, wearing a stylish suit, looked much more sophisticated as he went to his meeting place. He met a rather pretty girl, and they chatted happily. Ironically, the chubby man's mother happened to pass by and saw them. Because she saw him from behind, she thought it was her husband. She immediately suspected he had cheated on her with a young girl. Blood rushed to her head, and she waited until the girl went to the restroom. She stormed in, grabbed the girl's hair, and scolded her for stealing her husband. The short-haired girl misunderstood the chubby man as a married man. She escaped from her mother's grasp and ran to the girl. They beat the fat man relentlessly. The fat man could only run outside, get into a taxi, and leave. The mother also jumped into another taxi and told the driver to follow the first car. The fat man's destination was a noisy bar. The mother hurriedly followed. She was sure her husband was here to flirt with other women. This was a place full of beautiful girls. The mother, acting as if nothing had happened, calmly entered the bar but was stopped by a tall, burly bouncer. The customers here were all stylish young men and women. She couldn't let an old woman wander in here. The mother understood the situation and she thought of dressing up in a really youthful, hip-hop style and blending in with the customers into the dance floor. The mother searched everywhere but couldn't find her husband. She called him to tell him to confess to receive leniency. The husband was sitting at home with a doctor, saying he hadn't done anything all day. He'd just stayed home and hadn't shown his face outside. The wife still didn't believe him and continued her search. As a result, she was dragged away by the staff to entertain customers. Entering a room, she saw 3 young men drinking beer. The mother recognized them as her son's friends and asked them if they had seen anything. "Where's her husband?" The 3 of them shook their heads. "There are no old people here." The mother left disappointed. Just then, she went back to the dance floor. Her former staff and everyone there encouraged her to dance. The middle-aged woman, who for years had only known how to help out and had no hobbies, suddenly became confident and danced as a way to relax. Who cared that she was over 50 years old and giving it her all? The crowd cheered her on. It wasn't every day that they saw the image of the auntie dancing like that. From then on, the mother occasionally back on the dance floor with the young people. She even played the drums coolly to prove that age doesn't matter as long as you're still passionate about life. Just go for it. Regarding the male lead, after seeing his career looking a bit brighter, he thought about conquering Airborne. He's always secretly loved her since his school days, and that feeling of love hasn't faded. Not only is Duzu self-centered, but the short-haired girl also thinks about finding a way to make him confess his feelings to her. Airborne is definitely 100% smitten with the male lead, but he hasn't yet. After receiving advice from her close friends, Ebong dared to express her feelings. She planned to make the male lead confess his feelings to her first. She invited him to a pastry shop. This is a place that serves custom-made cakes for confessions or marriage proposals. As soon as the cake was brought out, Ebong thought there was a ring inside. She even took advantage of the moment when the male lead went to the restroom to check for a ring inside. There was nothing inside, but when he returned, he was eating the cake innocently like a fairy. Ebong was extremely disappointed but didn't give up. She carried out Plan B again. She dragged him to watch a movie. She even winked at the host beforehand. Choose your feelings so he can go on stage to speak. She hoped that standing in front of the stage, he could bravely express his feelings. When the male lead was called up, he thought everyone recognized him as the famous storyteller. He shyly smiled foolishly on stage. Eben looked at the man in front of her and sighed sadly. When will he understand her intentions? One last gamble, she dragged the male lead to drink. Eben placed a star of hope on the bottles in front of her. "We have no excuse, so the truth will flow like a stream." The girl and the guy each have a few bottles and keep asking if he likes anyone right now. The male protagonist, after drinking several glasses, shows signs of drunkenness. He looks at the girl in front of him and says, "Someone likes you a lot." The girl is overjoyed, thinking she's about to be confessed to. The guy in the middle concludes with, "You look very ugly." Then he collapses onto the table, unaware of anything. The short-haired girl sadly drinks a few bitter glasses, thinking that her plan has failed. The next morning, the girl is saying goodbye. He went on a business trip. He didn't remember what happened last night. The girl sitting beside him looked upset and said she wouldn't see him again. She pulled her suitcase and left, leaving the male protagonist stunned for a moment. Then he hurried onto the bus to go home, but suddenly he stopped. He seemed to have remembered something, so he quickly ran into the airport. At this moment, the girl with short hair was wearing headphones and listening to music, so she didn't hear him shouting her name to ask for a few thousand dong for the bus fare. The way the male protagonist desperately called out her name would make outsiders think he was confessing his love to her. The short-haired girl, seeing the male lead call her name, turned around and looked at him with happy eyes. She said she would date him right now, even though she suddenly realized, that's right. He wanted to confess his feelings to her during the time they met, even hiring a team of people to stand guard when he confessed, but he ruined everything with his clumsiness. Now they won't miss each other anymore. The short-haired girl and her boyfriend officially become a couple. Both are in love for the first time, so they don't have much dating experience. The male lead sought out some guys. "You asked about dating advice after decades of not even holding a girl's hand. Your friend said to keep it simple. Take your girlfriend out to eat and watch a movie. Even though you listened to your friend's advice and imagined holding someone's hand for just a little while, but being together for a lifetime, could you quickly seal the deal and marry the short-haired girl right away? Just thinking about it makes me so happy." On her part, she also asked for advice on behalf of her friends for advice on her first date. If she's been single for a long time, she's also a leftover girl. Her friend said that the simplest thing is to go to the movies, then the male lead will gently hold her hand. This action seems incredibly sweet, but in my eyes, she considers it perverted. After careful analysis, The couple decided to participate in the love game. Even though she was dressed in 20th century attire, with short hair and flamboyant makeup, meeting her boyfriend. Each had a plan to make the other fall madly in love with them. However, less than 2 seconds later, the couple exposed themselves. Not only that, they also gave fake smiles when one of them made a joke. After eating and drinking with his girlfriend until he was completely drunk and dizzy, Eben asked the male protagonist if he wanted to come to her house. "My parents are all gone. There's no one here," he said. Hearing that her parents were away, Duzux immediately jumped up. He helped her out of the restaurant and into a taxi. The driver asked the couple where they wanted to go. Eben said, "To Busan." The driver laughed, thinking, "These are our rich customers." He sped off to Eben's house at breakneck speed, driving so wildly that the male protagonist had to swallow hard. The fare kept increasing, and in the end, Duzux was in tears. The guy handed over the payment card for the taxi fare. He brought his boyfriend into her house. It was true that her parents weren't home, but the whole family, including relatives, were gathered there. The male protagonist smiled and greeted everyone. He was surprised by everyone's presence but tried to blend in, except for the fact that BNG's pet dog was lying on his lap. Everything else, though awkward, was acceptable. After the introduction, the male protagonist reciprocated by bringing his girlfriend home to introduce her to the whole family. They were very happy because their youngest son had finally escaped being single. BNG's parents were very happy to welcome the short-haired girl. However, they still didn't know how to maintain their image, still arguing and bickering, which made Mbong a little scared, even though she and her girlfriend were watching a movie in the living room, happily laughing and talking. The father felt ignored when his wife didn't pay any attention to him. How dare this house ignore him? The father. At night, he took several speakers and placed them all over the living room and bathroom. The next morning, everyone woke up because his voice was blaring through the speakers in every corner of the house. He ordered her to get water, even through the speakers. The father now sat there with his beard bristling, ordering everyone around. The speakers I installed throughout the house have caused significant problems for the entire building. Neighbors hear my father's voice and think there's a burglar breaking in or some kind of deity appearing. His voice echoes everywhere, and the house isn't soundproof. As a result, at the end of the month, the main character's electricity bill skyrockets, all because of my father's damn speakers. My main character's Jia Din house indirectly disturbs the privacy of the neighbors with these speakers. Now, due to the noise, he has to endure the noise of a handsome guy living next door. Living with a spoiled girlfriend, the two of them often flirt and make unpleasant noises at night. Annoyed, he went to the neighbor's house to complain, but the girlfriend, wearing a bow tie, acted arrogant and didn't listen. When she came back, she even told her boyfriend to make even more noise tonight. She has absolutely no shame. This kind of girl needs to be taught a lesson. He was determined to teach that rude couple a lesson. First, when the girl with the bow tie went to the bathroom, he recorded his loud farts through a speaker so the boyfriend would think, "My girlfriend has digestive problems even though she's in the bathroom holding a phone in one hand and dusty-mouthed in the other from laughing too much." The handsome guy knows the male lead is making things difficult for him, so he also plays music all night long to bother him. The male lead officially invites his older brother, calling him Fat Brother, to form a team to deal with the neighbor guy. He even posts a challenge sign at 9 p.m. every day at the guy's house. The building gets to enjoy free singing from amateur singers. The situation escalates to such a dramatic point that residents in the building gather downstairs to watch. They sang. The young man sang old songs again, so his voice was much more expressive. The two brothers, the male protagonists, saw that he had changed his strategy, so they also changed their vocal tone. They sang through a curtain like in a show called The Masked Singer. The neighbors gathered below, predicting which house would win. After a while of singing until they were exhausted, the victory went to the handsome guy. This disappointed the whole family of the male protagonists greatly. Determined not to give up, the eldest brother came up with a plan. The girl in the brown dress upstairs came down to continue the competition. The other house hired a girl to perform. The contestant with a powerful voice competed fiercely, neither side giving way to the other. Only the audience below got to enjoy the art. They guessed and speculated whether that was the famous female singer Park, but in reality, no one was a professional singer. The battle between Du Shu and the handsome guy next to him finally came to an end after much effort. The older brother advised the male lead to admit defeat to live comfortably. Du Shu, with tears in his eyes, tightly grasped his brother's hand and whimpered, admitting defeat. It's true that one shouldn't cause trouble with the neighbors. Let's return to Dushu's love story and the short-haired girl. Her birthday is coming up, so he wants to prepare a little surprise. He takes advantage of the time when she's at work and not home. The male protagonist decorates and prepares a cake for his loved one. Just then, the doorbell rings. He quickly hides under the bed to escape. He thought his girlfriend had returned, but surprisingly, the people who entered were the short-haired girl's parents. Seeing the decorated house and the cake, the father sheds tears, thinking that his daughter is so lonely that she has to organize her own birthday party to comfort herself. The male protagonist realizes that he has now fallen into a situation of advance and retreat. Dilemma, however, he couldn't confess his identity as Eben's boyfriend at this time. Taking advantage of the fact that his girlfriend's parents were cleaning and dispersing to other parts of the house, he quickly slipped away. But unexpectedly, he met the landlady who had come to visit. This woman suffered from amnesia, especially mistaking young men for her husband. Suddenly, he became the unwilling husband of an older woman. Facing his girlfriend's parents, he was extremely embarrassed and didn't know how to explain. When Eben returned and mentioned Cow Cow, the short-haired girl returns home and sees the decorated house. She automatically understands that her boyfriend made her feel emotional and rushes to hug the male lead, whispering words of love. Her parents, seeing their daughter hugging the young man who just claimed to be the young husband of the old woman, become furious. The father throws the bouquet of flowers, grabs the umbrella, and angrily questions and curses him, calling him a scoundrel. Luckily, he calms down later and treats his future son-in-law more kindly. In another development, the chubby older brother imitates the trick of the 19-year-old male lead and goes to his girlfriend's house to surprise her. Unexpectedly, she had a dozen boyfriends, even a husband. Several men were hiding under the bed, almost fainting. The fat guy's relationship was also ruined. The fat guy was very sad because he missed home after a month on a business trip in Shanghai. He missed home so much that he demanded his mother update him on his daily life. Whether she was watching a movie or going to the supermarket, she had to take him along by chatting via tablet. At first, she also loved her son, so she would hug him and follow him wherever he went, but everything was out of control. Right on the bus, he accidentally farted because he was too embarrassed, so she said that my son made the fat guy refuse to accept this shameful fart, so she shouted through the loudspeaker that it was Mom who farted. The mother was so embarrassed she wanted to crawl into the ground, but she could only grit her teeth and endure it. That brat dares to expose his mother in public. She threw the babysitting task to the fat guy's husband, who then passed it to the father. The father took his eldest son out for drinks. Of course, they only shouted through the screen and didn't drink a single drop. The fat guy was so lonely he was going crazy. He wanted to call his younger brother, but the male lead didn't. He picks up the phone even though he's currently teaching a class in place of a friend who took a leave of absence. He bought a K-pop ticket that he had brought to school with a smug face. At first, he thought it would be simple, just taking attendance. Little did he know he had to teach as well. The male protagonist has no teaching skills, but because he wants to show off his teaching abilities, he assigned a 4-frame drawing assignment to the students. The male protagonist tries to hold on until his friend appears. As soon as he receives the call, he rushes out of the classroom. Just then, his dear friend calls, and his pig-faced expression appears in front of the projector. The student panicked when he saw a strange name on the screen. He was about to turn off the screen, but the chubby guy felt challenged. His impulse flared up, and the chubby guy took off his pants and showed his butt in front of everyone, scaring the students. The male protagonist just returned to the classroom and heard his older brother showing off his body in front of everyone. At this moment, he knew his brother was bringing trouble upon himself. They were like a pair of worn-out pants. After a period of diligently contributing to drawing stories, he had gained some fame. The industry also had a documentary filmed by the television station, unfortunately with the unique Korean style of the reporter. The reporter was a little fed up. First, his activities during the day were too boring. Then, he interviewed a few local people, but they didn't know he was a famous comic artist. He felt embarrassed. Clearly, he was the one being interviewed, but it didn't bring any achievements. Not to mention, his friend left his camera at his house, which recorded all the nude images of the male protagonist after showering, as well as other things. His cursing words as the reporters left that day when the whole family gathered to watch the documentary about the male protagonist. The result shown on the screen was footage of a family in turmoil. The eldest brother talking to himself like a madman, the parents cursing and swearing at each other, causing the TV station to insert beeping sounds. This family couldn't stop the drama even for a second. The younger brother was causing trouble, and then the eldest brother came along. This time, the chubby brother was sent on a business trip to China with his boss. Before he could even have a successful business meeting, the chubby brother caused trouble again in a strange land, specifically when the hotel staff said that there was a fire drill. With his limited English, the fat guy understood that there was a fire. People said that stupidity plus enthusiasm equals destruction. The fat guy shouted everywhere that there was a fire, causing panic among the hotel guests. He even thought of using his underwear to cover his mouth to avoid inhaling toxic fumes. People mistakenly thought there was a fire like the fat guy and rushed to the emergency exit. Everyone was crying and worried, thinking they were about to die. The fat guy still acted like a hero saving everyone. But, in fact, when the whole group went down to the lobby, there was no fire at all. He unnecessarily scared everyone just for a moment of heroism. Now, the fat guy is being arrested by foreign police and is on the news for disturbing public order. The saddest thing is that when the fat guy called his parents through an interpreter, no one believed what the interpreter said. His parents thought it was an online scam. The interpreter saw that both of them seemed to dislike their son, so she thought the fat guy had mental problems and left the scene. Take him back to the police station. Returning to the male protagonist, his life is threatened when his two childhood brothers return. When they were little, they were cute and obedient. Now, these two twin boys are as big as buffaloes. They attack the male protagonist's house and demand that he introduce girlfriends to both brothers. Although he doesn't want to get into trouble, he agrees. He promises to introduce beautiful girlfriends to the twins, even girls from the capital. However, the plan falls apart when currently only one girl agrees to go on a blind date. The other one has a problem, so he couldn't get there. The male protagonist held his hair to his head, thinking of a way to satisfy both sides. He remembered they were identical twins, but the girl couldn't tell which was the older brother and which was the younger. He saw that he had arranged a date for both of them. Thinking it over, he messaged the twins to the meeting place and instructed them to follow his instructions. The two guys nodded in agreement, thinking it was a chance to meet a city girl. The twins' blind date was a beautiful and gentle girl. When she met the younger brother, she also felt a little attracted to him because of his muscular physique. Again acted awkwardly despite being embarrassed while observing the three-person date from a corner. The older brother messaged his younger brother to go to the restroom. Then the older brother appeared and replaced the two brothers, who had no idea they were dating the same person. Neither of these two men were particularly refined young men. One didn't have a driver's license but drank alcohol, and the other spoke rudely, causing the girl to frown. After a while, seeing that the date was unstable, the girl quickly tried to escape. The two brothers also quickly realized they had been tricked. The twins rushed to the older brother's house and beat him up. As a result of the incident, the male protagonist couldn't move his hands for several days. He could only eat and move with his mouth. After recovering, he went to school to meet BNG. At that moment, a man on a scooter passed by. Fearing his girlfriend might be hit, he pushed her forcefully to the side. Unexpectedly, that push caused BNG to fall headfirst down the stairs. She had short hair and was in a similar condition to her boyfriend. For several days, his hands couldn't move, and he could only use his feet and mouth to live. Feeling extremely guilty, he stayed to take care of her. BNG suddenly became temporarily disabled. She felt extremely uncomfortable. However, she adapted to the situation very quickly. She still used her feet to look at her phone. Everything went on as normal. It was just tiring to move around using her feet. Seeing his girlfriend bored and stuck at home, he suggested taking her out to play and even volunteered to do her makeup. Because she trusted her boyfriend, she entrusted her face to the clumsy boy. Now she looked like a clown. Not only that, he also put a red jacket on his girlfriend, making her look even more. It got even stranger when she went to the park. A child tripped and fell because she couldn't move her hand, so she kicked the child. As a result, the child's mother thought she was hitting her child, and within minutes, she became the laughing stock of the entire park. When she got home, she looked in the mirror and realized how terrifying her face had become. She scolded him angrily and told him to get 2 wet towels to put on her face, but the male lead made a terrible mistake when he mistakenly used nail polish remover instead of makeup remover. She was already hurting her hand, and now she was hurting her eyes too. She screamed, screaming and yelling, then cursing, that useless, damn boyfriend. That night, her short-haired mother came to visit. Seeing her daughter injured all over her body, she felt very sorry for Bong. She asked her mother to text her boyfriend to ask what he was doing. Bong wanted to kill him 7,749 times for almost blinding her, but she still cared, even though she was very angry. When her short-haired mother texted, she accidentally sent the wrong message. The male protagonist received the message and replied in a mysterious, teasing way. Bong asked her mother to read the message aloud. Hearing the content of the message her boyfriend sent made her even angrier. She thought that he was teasing her with her current appearance, so he called to scold her, even though he was helping the male protagonist who was sitting in the drawing room drawing Eben's beautiful cartoon character. However, after that fateful call and scolding, he changed his idea and drew his girlfriend looking fierce, unique, and unusual. The male protagonist's older brother recently had some problems with the department head at the company, so he went to Jose for advice on how to improve the relationship. He wanted to be respected and trusted by his boss. Seeing his brother's earnest plea, the male protagonist came up with a few tricks for him. For example, if you're casually chatting with the boss and he tells a story, you have to laugh along. Unfortunately, the chubby guy only knows how to listen and doesn't know how to apply it appropriately to the situation. Who would have thought that when the boss tells a sad story, the employee would laugh loudly and rudely? When eating, the chubby guy would innocently eat from the manager's bowl. Needless to say, after a few such minor actions, the boss disliked him and warned him that if he didn't correct himself soon, he wouldn't be able to stay at the company. The chubby guy was stunned when the boss scolded him. If he wasn't an employee anymore, could he directly become the boss? He imagined in his head what it would be like if one day he became a boss, a chubby guy in a neat suit sitting in one place, pointing with 5 fingers, but dreams are just dreams. He quickly returned to reality with his status as a lowly employee. His parents, though recently, were trying to strengthen their marital relationship. The husband kept inviting his wife out for dates and meals. Knowing his wife liked places with water, he took her boating for romance. Unfortunately, they went out at night, so it seemed like there would be problems. And sure enough, there was trouble between the two of them. The husband and wife sat and talked gently for a while, then they started arguing again. The wife wanted to discuss the issue because the weather was getting colder and it was pitch black all around. The husband wanted to hold her back and not leave so quickly. Finally, the couple started arguing again and got into a struggle. The husband accidentally pushed his wife into the lake. The wife was furious when her husband pushed her. She knew right away that he was all about love and romance. He was only good at teasing her. The couple felt that living together while constantly fighting and arguing like this wasn't a long-term solution, so they sought legal advice on divorce. The lawyer looked at the old couple in front of him and conveniently said, "If you feel that living together is torture, then get a divorce to ease your heart." The wife felt a little uncomfortable seeing the lawyer's blunt attitude, but she was just putting on a show. She didn't actually want a divorce. So the couple, Lai Hoa Thuan, acted as if nothing had happened. The male protagonist has recently felt tired. Although he has gained some fame and is known by many people, the pressure of work has left him feeling exhausted. He wants to take a week off to travel with his family. Has the whole family. When will he ever get to go abroad? Now that he's doing well in business, this is the perfect opportunity. Unfortunately, his superiors won't let him take time off because he's a newcomer and needs to produce works continuously. The whole family is giving due advice on how to get time off, such as pretending to have a sore right hand and doing things that cause controversy. His chubby older brother even advised the male lead that when meeting fans, he should act arrogant, even showing a haughty and snobbish attitude. Although Du did exactly as he did when meeting fans on the street, the result was that they liked him even more. "How cool this guy is," the mother said to Ju. "Now, if it's you, quit. Then what can the superiors do? Everyone gets leave. Why is it only you who can't?" The male protagonist, hearing his mother say that, took a deep breath. He called the guy with glasses, his superior, and spoke in a dirty tone, like, "I want to take leave. What are you going to do about it?" The next day, he dressed up nicely and went to the airport with his family to go on a trip. He received a call from Eben. She said that his story was very good but not finished, and she hoped there will soon be a full version to read to your heart's content. Although he received praise from his girlfriend, he felt a natural stirring in his heart, a feeling of wanting to continue writing at home. Although his family was waiting for him to complete the procedures for their trip, he wanted to buy some things, so he stopped by a convenience store. There, he met an old friend. That guy also had a passion for drawing cartoons but hadn't created any works yet. He said he admired him for becoming famous, while he himself was still stuck working as a cashier. He laughed and said that his drawing job, "This is also very tiring, constantly being chased by deadlines, not to mention the worry of running out of ideas. After he finished speaking, he left, but then the other guy said something that made him think. Just being able to draw what you like is the best thing. It doesn't matter whether it gets published later or not. As long as you have the passion to pursue it, that's happiness. After hearing those words, he remembered himself a few years ago when he also worked as a supermarket employee and met a man who had achieved success in his animation career. Also said the exact same things as the other boy. He said that as long as he could draw what he liked, that was fine. After some consideration, the male protagonist decided not to travel with his family anymore. He stayed home and continued drawing and releasing new chapters. The reason he has achieved what he has today is because of the encouragement from his family and girlfriend. Therefore, he will work hard without stopping. The final scene of the film is that, even in his old age, he has become a famous comic book author. He still lives with his family and his wife. The film ends here. Thank you for watching. Hello and see you again in the next videos.